All right, what's up, guys? This is Tom Taylor with South China Morning Post, SDMP Martial Arts. This is the post-fight podcast. That's John over there on the other side of the screen. Um, we've got a bit of an interesting show planned today. Got Guto Innocente, a one championship heavyweight kickboxer and former mixed martial arts fighter, joining us. I think he'll be joining in just a moment. Nick, I'm going to bring you in. I see you there.
Hello, lads.
You ready?
Sorry,
Hey, man.
I need to move some equipment. My
Sure, yeah,
Wi-Fi
and
is
we've got
outside. I need to put it back in the room. So 1 second. I'm gonna jump out quickly.
Sure, yeah. Sorry, guys, just getting organized here. We've got someone joining us here. I don't know if this is Guto's translator. 1 second. Yeah, guys, so we've got Guto Innocente joining us this time. Sorry, we're a bit unorganized this morning. This plan came together kind of off the cuff. We're going to speak to him a little bit about his next fight at One Fight Night 11. We'll preview that card, maybe get into One Fight Night 10, which is, of course, next week in Denver. So, yeah, lots to discuss this time. Guys, if you have any questions for Guto, please throw them up on the screen. Oops. There's Nick again. I'm going to take him out. Oops. Yeah, we've got Guto joining us soon, guys. So any questions for him, let us know. John, how are you, man? What's going on?
Not much, man. Lots of news. Lots of I don't want to say. I don't think it's changes, but new revelations with one championship, especially with like Chatri doing all these interviews over the past week or so. He's divulged some information, especially about Francis and him meeting with Francis. I think we'll probably talk about that soon.
For sure.
But yeah, man, I'm interested to talk about that. I'm interested to talk with Guto and see where he's at and what he's been doing since his last fight. Because in his last fight, he fought for the title, right? And
he fought Roman. Yeah.
Yeah,
man, he's a great fighter. And we've got someone here. I don't know if I can bring this guy in. Hangi here. Oh, he's gone now. I just don't want to bring him in if he's like the translator, doesn't want to be on camera or something.
Yeah.
Maybe Nick can help us with that. Nick has set up this Guto thing, so maybe he knows better than we do.
What's going on?
Well, we just had another guy down there ready to join in, but it wasn't Guto. I don't know if it was his translator or something.
Yeah, that's his manager.
Okay, yeah. He's maybe just let him ask if he wants to come on. I don't know if he's got Guto with him or what.
Okay.
There he is. What's up, Hangi? Right. Can you hear us? Sorry.
Hi, am I on?
Yeah,
you're on now. Yeah.
Hi, I was just here to watch Guto. Actually, I didn't know that I'm gonna be up. Hi.
Yeah, we weren't sure if we should bring you on or not. We can take you off.
If it's okay, I just witness or up to you guys. I'm really okay either way. I think I should make my camera this way too, or this way.
It's all good, man. When Guto comes on, you can jump off. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Well,
man.
yeah, Hangi manages a bunch of fighters in one championship, including Guto Innocente. He's got a few other guys. Iraj Aziz Paul. A lot of the Iranian dudes are under his stewardship, and we had a few beers in Singapore in March. When was it? So he asked if I wanted to get some of his guys on the show. So yeah, Guto is first up, given he is on the next card, One Fight Night 11. So whenever Guto turns up, throw him in. But sorry, I think he's here. I don't know what's going on. Tom, I'm going to throw it back to you. This is a chaotic start to the show.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Maybe Nick, you can figure out what's going on with the streams here. We've got two Hangis here down below.
You could just kick one of them out.
That. But yeah, we've got lots to talk about this time. As JHK said, it sounds like there's some movement with Francis Ngannou in one championship, which is very exciting. Maybe while we wait for Guto, we can talk about that a bit, guys. What do you say we start with that? Chatri was on the MMA Hour earlier this week, speaking to Ariel Helwani about the negotiations with Francis. It sounds like there are actual talks ongoing. I know Chatri has sort of no-sold this in the past. Nick, when you asked about it, he didn't really feel like talking about it. But it seems like now, ahead of this U.S. debut, he's gotten a little more loose-lipped about what's been happening. And I hear there are plans for him to speak to Francis in person in Los Angeles, I think this weekend. Nick, I'll pitch it to you first, man. Like, what do you think about this? Do you think Francis is going to end up in one after hearing everything that Chatri said on the MMA Hour yesterday?
Yeah, I was quite surprised. He was pretty candid, Chachi, actually. Like you said, he no-sold it to me really a lot of the time. So I wasn't quite sure. Well, anyway, I see Guto there. Maybe we'll return to
Yeah,
this.
let's start with
topic.
Guto.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
all right. We'll get back to that. Bringing him in
Oh, he's gone
right
as
now. No, here he is.
What's up, Guto?
What's up, Guto? How are you?
I'm good. And how about you?
We're good, man. Where in the world are you right now?
I am in Brasilia, Brazil.
Okay,
Right.
nice, man. How's the weather down there?
Here is hot outside. The sun is shining today. Yeah.
All right, man. Good to hear. Well, we're excited to have you on the show. You know, we're all big fans of yours. You're a great fighter to watch, an awesome fighter to watch. You've been great in one championship. And of course, now you have another big fight coming up. You're fighting Rada again at One Fight Night 11. This was just announced recently. I guess first things first, I mean, how long has this fight been in the works for you? When did you first hear about this rematch?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you guys for inviting me. You know, it's a big honor for me to be here with you guys and talk about my work and my next fight. And I have the notes about this fight, I think 1 month ago. So I had a full camp, and I am very excited for this fight. You know, Hadi is a prospect in the ONE FC organization, and I had beat him. So I feel like this fight against him will be a good opportunity to get my rematch against Roman, you know. So I think if I beat Radi again, I will have the opportunity to do a title shot. So I'm very excited, very prepared, and I can't wait, man, to be there.
Yeah, it's a great matchup. But John and I were kind of wondering before you came on, you know, why is this rematch happening? You beat him pretty decisively last time. What's the reason for this second fight, in your opinion?
So, in my opinion, I think it's because he's a prospect, you know, and the first fight was so fast, and I think I was waiting for a longer fight, you know, for more fight last time, but it happened faster, and this time I think I will show a little bit more for them.
So you think maybe one championship is sort of like thinking that, you know, Rada has more potential than he showed last time. You beat him so quickly last time. They think maybe, you know, a second fight might be a little more competitive between you two. Is that sort of what they're thinking, you think?
Yeah, I think this is in their mind, and they want to give him the opportunity. You know, they like him a lot, so they want to give him the rematch. So if he win, he has the opportunity for belt.
So for you though, you have no objections to fighting a guy you just beat when they called you and asked you to do this again. No problem for you.
Absolutely no problem. You know, if he want, I will beat him again, and I'm feeling like a good opportunity for me. You know, I'm feeling like he's a prospect in the organization. So if I beat him again, I will have my rematch against Roman, and this is what I'm looking for.
Well, I think we all want to talk about the rematch with Roman, but just a bit about Rada. His last fight, he looked pretty good. I think he fought Giannis Stafaridis in his last fight, if I recall. Did you see anything from him in that fight that like really impressed you, that made you worry about this rematch at all? Or I mean, what's the confidence level like after watching his last fight?
No, he was there. We fought in the same day, and he was there. He wanted to show something, you know, and he was there hungry to fight, and he beat him easy. It was an easy fight for him.
Yeah, he looked good in that one. When you fought him the first time, as I said, you beat him really quickly, but he landed some nice stuff. Like, did he do anything in the first fight did he hurt you at all in that first fight?
No, for real, I didn't have felt nothing, you know, but I felt hard to find the distance in the beginning of the fight. So he threw a couple jabs so fast, and it was a little hard to get the time and the distance. But wasn't hard.
You've called him a few times a prospect, and I think before the last fight you said something, nothing super disrespectful, but you mentioned that, he hadn't really fought a lot of world-class guys yet. He's a younger guy coming up. Do you still sort of feel that way, that he's unproven?
Yeah, man. I feel like he's as I say many times, he's a prospect. Everybody knows he's a good fighter. He has talent. He's a strong guy. He's a big guy. But he's young. He has a lot of to learn yet. And I think the biggest fighter he has faced was myself. And I'm ready to teach him some pain again.
Yeah. Well, the last one definitely looked painful. We all remember that one, body shot. Nick, what did you think of that fight, the first one, Guto and Rada? Did you watch that one?
Yeah, like you said, though, I was a little surprised they were actually doing this again. So, but like I said, I'm here for it as well. I don't know why it's the first fight on the card, though. I feel like it should be a little bit later. I mean, Guto, are you unhappy that you're going to have to open up the show? It's going to be quite early, I think 7 or 8 a.m., something like that.
Yeah, man. This is make me upset because I think we deserve a main card, and I it on their hands if they want. I just need to go there and fight. If they want like this, no problem. I will beat him and put my place there in the main card again.
The placement is actually something that the placement is actually something that we were going a little back and forth, but only after the card was out. Because until the card was out, I was not also expecting it. I was very sure that naturally Guto will be in the main card.
Yeah, and
when I saw he is in the lead card, and the first fight of the lead card, first fight of the lead card is for when I enter one. I'm not fighter.
Fair enough, man.
Or Raid, also Raid. Raid is a very, very respected fighter too.
Yeah, that's an early morning. It's a really early morning
7.
for you guys. Yeah, I mean, people that aren't fighters maybe would have a hard time understanding what that changes for you, fighting at 7 a.m. as opposed to, say, 11 a.m. or later in the night. I mean, like, what is it like to fight that early in the morning? Have you had to fight that early before in your career?
Yeah, I did. I did once in Australia. I fought the UFC so early in the morning. And for me, it's okay. I feel like as a fighter, you need to be ready to fight in time, in the midnight or in the morning. So our time is already very different. So I will get there and adjust to be ready to fight in the morning. It's no problem for me. I will make it happen.
Do you eat your breakfast before the fight or after? And what about coffee? Do you drink coffee?
No, I think I will fight with my empty stomach. Yeah, I like to be hungry.
Fair enough. Well, I know you're hungry for a title shot. You've talked about Roman a couple of times. Of course, he's the guy that you fought last time. Didn't go your way. It was a tough fight. There's no way around it. I mean, what are your thoughts on that fight you had with Roman now that you've had a few months to kind of think about it?
Yeah. That fight is in my mind every day, and was very tough for me because I was waiting a really tough fight, a long fight. I know Roman is a good fighter. I was waiting for a war, and it happened so fast, and the way the fight ends, I think I could get recovered and still fighting, but it wasn't the referee foul, was my foul, and it was that way, man. That just happened, and it won't happen anymore.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you could have maybe kept fighting. A lot of people thought that was an early stoppage. I remember watching with Nick. We thought it was a little bit early. I mean, how much does that frustrate you? If you're being honest with yourself after a fight like that, an early stoppage, it must be pretty tough to accept for a while, right?
I got depressive, I got really bad, but yeah, I had in my mind I can get better, recover. I know I was well prepared for that fight, but I am an experienced fighter, and I know it can happen in the fight world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure it does. And Roman is a great fighter. He's one of the best in the world right now. How do you feel about a rematch with him? What's the confidence level like when you think about fighting him again?
Man, I'm hungry for that. I can't wait for
Let's
that.
go.
But in my now, it's just Roddy. I need to beat him to has this to get this opportunity. But I'm very confident. I think I can beat him, as I was thinking in the last fight.
Yeah, man. And I think if you win this fight with Rada, you're gonna be one of the top guys in this weight class. We were talking, Guto, before you came on about Francis Ngannou, a name that you know well. I'm sure everyone's talking about this guy right now. I don't know if you saw, but Chatri was talking about potentially signing Francis Ngannou to one championship. Now, I know you're a former MMA guy yourself, and Francis may compete in kickboxing if he comes to one or something. There's all these options, but what do you think about a big heavyweight like Francis potentially coming to one?
Yeah, he's a really big guy, tough fighter, and I would love to welcome him if he come for kickboxing or MMA, any rules. If ONE FC give him the opportunity to give him the welcome for the organization, I will love it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he'd be a good fit for one championship? Like, would that be a good arrangement, him and one?
For sure, for sure. He's a big name. He's just come off the UFC, and he come off as a title contender, so he's a big deal for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely a big deal, I think. Nick, do you have any questions for Guto? I mean, I feel like I'm hogging the mic here.
Well, there's a question in the chat from Vegan Crane. What's going on with that AK behind you, Guto? Is your coach hold it while the fight's going on, the AK-47, or what?
Yeah, if I did it, it's ready here to use. No, I'm just joking around. I'm a big fan of this gun, AK-47. It's a gun with a lot of history, and I just like it a lot, and I had it on my wall.
He don't really need to use one. He got his hands.
No.
Just sorry for guys. Sorry that I stopped you here. I think if I may say that, Guta, I think the whole thing about now we were talking about the MMA and kickboxing, the whole switch and everything and the invitation you wanted to do here would be a good place to make it official.
Ooh.
We didn't speak it beforehand. I'm just suggesting it here if Guto find it fit.
Fair enough. Guto, are you going to do MMA again in the future?
For sure. I had signed it with one for Muay Thai and kickboxing, but I am asking for MMA. I was fighting MMA just before before signing with ONE FC, so I'm looking for the opportunity. I was asking for fight against Bochecha. People here in Brazil loves the idea. Will be a big match here for the Brazilian fans, but they are put me to do kickboxing. So I am a worker, hard worker. I will do what they put me.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's a good question for you.
It's a while Guto is inviting Bochecha for an MMA fight.
Well, that'd be an amazing fight. Just a great clash of styles. And Guto, I know you know your way around the ground too. You've done plenty of MMA. In fact, last weekend I was watching the UFC and Junior Tafa was fighting, and I was looking at his record. And of course, I saw your name as a former opponent. You fought him in kickboxing, and then I was looking at your record, and you fought everybody everywhere: UFC, MMA, kickboxing, Glory, one championship. It goes on. Do you feel like you kind of get the credit you deserve as just such an experienced combat sports guy? I feel like people forget, you know?
Yeah, man. I think I don't have it yet. You know, I think I deserve a little bit more, but I know I have a lot of more to prove. You know, and I'm feeling I will fight against Roddy with 37 years old. You know, I will make 37 right now in May, but I feel like I'm feeling young. I'm feeling good. You know, I feel like I have more 10 years to go fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I will get my what I deserve, you know, in the fight world. I have it in my mind. I want much more than I have for sure.
Nice. Well, the future is definitely bright for you, Guto. There's no question. Now, I know we don't have you for that long. I think it's about 20 minutes. So anytime you need to leave, feel free. But there's a fan question there for you on the screen. Someone's wondering, Andrew Hunt is wondering, what's the talent level like in one's heavyweight division versus Glory? What do you think the heavyweight divisions are like compared to each other?
You know, I think ONE FC is far away ahead from Glory. I think there the kickboxing, the Muay Thai is at the higher level for sure. And the tough question here is because the champion there in the Glory is Rico Verhoeven, and he's a real good fighter, you know, and I think he deserved the place there in the first place in the world of our organizations. So, but I think will be a great match against Roman, you know, or against me again. And I think in the overall, ONE FC is a higher level than Glory for sure.
So a Roman versus Rico fight. Who do you think would win that one?
Yeah, I think Rico, but it's a tough fighter. Roman will sell it expensive for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nick, you got anything to ask the man of the hour here?
Well, I'll just say, what are you looking forward to most then, other than your own fight, of course, on the card? I think it's not the most brilliant card. Some people up in the comments were saying they're a bit underwhelmed, but I think, you know, pretty cool main event. Regian Ursel against Dmitry Menchikov. A lot of people don't know much about Menchikov, right? But he's quite well regarded, highly regarded in kickboxing, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, man. He's a great fighter. You know, he's like a legend, and I can't wait to watch this match. It will be a fire match for sure.
Yeah, and Superbon is on this one
sorry,
too.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just gonna say Superbon's back on this one too, right? I mean, what do you think he's gonna look like in this comeback fight after that tough fight he had?
Yeah, I am always cheering for Super Boom. You know, I love him. I like his style. I love his kicks, and I want his win for us.
Mm-hmm. Nick, you were gonna ask something. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Sorry, it's a bit chaotic here today. We've got so many people on the show. I should leave it to Tom to ask all the questions. But yeah, I was just going to ask any other fights you're looking forward to then on this card at One Fight Night 11, Bangkok Lumpini Stadium, Guto.
No, I know it will be a great card. A lot of good grappling fights too. I like these guys. I like the Musso Messi. He will fight. And I'm looking for my fight. I think that the show will be the heavyweight fight, the kickboxing match on Lumpini. You know, I can't wait to fight there. I'm always hearing about Lumpini, but I think I was in my mind then I will never fight there. But now I got the opportunity to fight there, and will be a great show. I tell the guys to looking for my match. It will be a great fight.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the grappling. That's interesting for me to hear, you know, because I feel like the grappling in ONE Championship has been a bit polarizing. Not everybody loves it, but you enjoy watching it as a kickboxer and former MMA guy. You enjoy watching these grapplers go at it.
Yeah, I like to watch the good guys. You know, when the guy is a good grappler, it's fun to watch. I am a jiu-jitsu black belt too, so I like to watch it.
That probably gives you a lot of confidence for that potential fight with Buchecha, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna need that black belt.
My black belt and his black belt is really different levels. You know, he is a world class jiu-jitsu guy. I am a black belt, but I don't have the experience he has in the competitions and his jiu-jitsu. But I have everything to stop his jiu-jitsu and put my game on him.
Cool. Well, Guto, I don't want to keep you all day. I know you have things to do, and we don't have you for that long. But before I let you go, I mean, it's clear that to me that you watch a lot of One Championship. You're paying attention to the grapplers. You're paying attention to the other kickboxers and so on. Who are your favorite fighters to watch in One, like across all the different disciplines? Who do you most enjoy watching?
Man, as I said here, Super Boom is a guy that I love. I love the Muay Thai guys, Rod Tan too. You know, Super Boom. And for MMA now, I'm looking the heavyweight division. I forgot the name of the champ now, the Russian.
Yeah, Anatoly Malakin. Yeah,
it's hard. He's a good fighter, you know. I like him a lot, and I would love to fight against him one day. So yeah, I like these guys.
That'd be a good fight. Maybe beat Buchecha, and then you get that title shot against Malakin, I think, right?
Yeah. It will happen, and I will fight against both sooner or later.
Awesome. Well, anyone have any more questions for Guto before we let him go? Nick, you got anything you want to ask?
Oh man, I'm good. I mean, I'm sure we'll catch up with you in June, yeah, in Bangkok. I'll be there. I think John, you're gonna be there with me as well. Sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah. We're
exciting.
gonna have JHK on the ground as well. So I'm sure we'll catch up and do another interview. Hangi, you're gonna be there as well, right?
Yep, definitely, yes.
All right. Well, we'll arrange something.
I just, because I'm Iranian, I just collected my Thai visa today. That's why my passport is on me. I'm ready to go.
Hangi will be there in the corner with me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. With the AK-47, right?
No, AK is for Guto. I come with my Beretta.
Okay. All right. You guys are well prepared then for anything.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Size.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot for joining us, guys. That was a lot of fun. Guto, do you have a message for your fans, for the people supporting you before we let you go?
Oh, hey guys, thank you for having me. You know, thank you for the opportunity to be here, talking to you guys and talking about my next fight. And hey guys, I'm training hard. You know, I'm feeling like I have to show something there. So watch my next fight. I will be there, hungry to show.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure, and we'll definitely chat again before and after the next fight, no doubt.
Yeah. So next one is in person. We will see you there.
We'll see you there, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you
so much.
Bye.
See ya.
See you.
Cheers. Oof.
Bye.
Oh yeah. All right. Then there were 3, I think. Yeah.
All right.
The chaos.
Yeah, sorry. That was a bit hectic.
What a chaotic start. Yeah. Thanks for helming that, Tom.
No worries. I didn't know who his manager was. I assumed it was a manager or a translator or something. I was just like, who is this guy?
He's a cool guy, Hangi. I met him in the last Singapore show. He manages a bunch of fighters in One, a lot of the Iranian guys, and Guto as well. And he's Iraj's Esports manager. So he obviously was there when we were there for the Iraj versus Roman Grand Prix final. Yeah, very nice guy. We had a few beers. He's pretty chill like me. Well, some people might say I'm not chill, but I like to think I am. Yeah, and we bonded over a few Coronas and Sammy lights, and we have a mutual love for Hawaiian shirts and things. So he said anytime one of my guys fight, I'd love to get some interviews going. So having him on, yeah. So Guto, I'm looking forward to that fight. It should be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one, man. As I was saying to John before we started the cameras, a bit weird that they're doing that again. I sort of thought maybe I'd missed something, like maybe there was some kind of controversy about the first fight, but I don't think there was. I mean, Guto whooped his ass as far as I'm concerned. And then But I guess like he was saying, you know, one sees something in this guy and they want to give him another shot. I don't know. What do you guys think about that rematch? Like doing rematches like that?
It doesn't seem very necessary, but I think when you're one fighter and you're not getting offered many fights, then when you finally do get offered one, and it's a guy you just whooped his ass, you'll be like, "Oh, easy money, I'll do that." So,
Yeah.
I see why Guto's doing it. Yeah, I think not perfect situation, and being on the first on the card is never easy, right? He's gonna have to get up pretty early. So, kudos to Guto for taking this fight. And
Yeah,
if he gets another victory, he can probably call a shot for what he wants next.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's a huge queue of contenders in this weight class right now for Roman. I mean, yeah, it's kind of slim pickings. So I think anybody that can win a couple of fights, particularly by knockout, is going to be well positioned for that. What do you say we get into that card? We can throw it up on the screen. Nick, do you want to do that? I can do it if you.
Yeah, I'll put it on the screen.
All right, sweet.
I don't know if my Wi-Fi is awful. Sorry, I've been playing around with it. Okay.
A little choppy, but I think you're okay.
Okay, should be up now. Is that it? Okay.
Looks like it's coming up. Yeah, there we go.
All right. Start at the top or what?
Start at to like work our way down. Let's do it.
You go or me? I don't know.
So when you say the top, do you mean the first? Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, your screen wasn't moving there. I wasn't sure what you actually meant.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that main event, I confess I don't know a ton about this Dimitri fellow, but it sounds like he's a big deal. Nick, you've heard some things about this guy. What can you tell me about this one?
Yeah, when I heard of this fight, I was in Bangkok for the show last weekend and kind of mentioned it to a pretty prominent one official, and he was telling me, "Oh, trust me, this guy is a monster. He's a beast," and that seems to be the consensus from the minimum research I've done on him. It seems he was a huge prospect in Glory, and then he had a bit of a contract snafu with Glory, and some shit went down, and then he left, and he's sort of been in the wilderness slightly since then. So this is pretty big jump. Not a lot of people going to know who he is in one championship, but I think kickboxing fans are going to know exactly who he is. And the only thing for me, it's a little strange, it's for Erstul's Muay Thai championship, but I'm not going to be grumbling too much. I'm keen to see this guy fight.
Yeah, and you know, as everyone can see, Erstul's got the 2 titles there on his shoulders in the picture. I gotta say, it's nice to see how active they're keeping him, because I feel like in the past he hasn't fought super frequently. And we know there's been some gripes from some champions and one not fighting often enough. We'd all like to see a lot of champions fight more often, but for this guy, it seems like they're keeping him active. JHK, are you liking the schedule they're keeping for Reggie and Erstl? Or like they're keeping him really busy? It's good to see, right?
Yeah, he's been fighting at least twice a year, right? So, you know, when you look at his track record, he's undefeated. He holds 2 titles. He's pretty much pound for pound top 3, right? In Super Series, would you say that?
I mean, he's up there. It depends if we're talking Muay Thai or kickboxing, but
just
in Super Series as a whole,
yeah,
he's got to be up there with 2 belts.
Yeah. So like, it's always good when he's fighting, right? Because it seems like he's only getting better. And his last performance,
I'm gonna check on. I've got a new dog. Hang on, I can hear him crying. One second.
Go for it. Nick's got the cutest new dog in the world. I believe they're calling the dog Billy, but it was adopted with the name Triceps, which is really funny too. Cute dog though. I hope Nick can show us the dog at some point. Speaking of this main event though, I know this Dimitri guy is a big deal. He comes from Glory and stuff, but I don't love the optics of giving title shots to fighters in their debuts in one championship, and they're doing this a lot lately. I know a lot of these guys have like really significant accolades by the time they make it to one, but then you think about the fact that like Demetrius Johnson didn't get an immediate title shot in one. Eddie Alvarez didn't get an immediate title shot in one. They seem to like object to that beforehand. They made everybody earn everything in one championship, but now they're kind of giving them out, you know, a little more freely. What do you think, John? Is it sort of bad optics to give title shots to debuting fighters, do you think?
Well, in this case, I don't think so, because it seems like the divisions are real light,
Mhm.
you know, and he's beaten everybody. You know, in his last fight, he beat the guy by decision, or actually the 2 fights ago, he beat the guy by decision and then gave the challenger immediate rematch, and then he had to go in there and finish him. You know what I mean? It's just it just shows you like how light the divisions are, and it seems like they like to do that in Super Series. In MMA, it's a different story, but in Super Series, they've done it in the past many times. You know what I mean? I think Alicia Rodriguez, she debuted.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. Yeah, she
right,
did. She
against
fought
Stamp.
Stamp. Yeah. Yeah.
And she won the
Good
title,
point.
and then she defended it just recently, right? So,
Well, and
Doc
know,
is
that's
such an
JDB.
asshole.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. John
Sorry.
DeBella debuted with a title shot too. It happens pretty often. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them giving title shots to people in their debuts. Obviously, it worked out for Rodriguez and DeBella, you know, and they're both great fighters. And this guy Dimitri sounds like he is too. But yeah, I sort of wonder about the optics of giving title shots to debuting fighters sometimes. But what can you do? I'm going to throw this question up from Andrew Hunt because I've been thinking about it. Do we feel like one pushes Muay Thai more than kickboxing? I definitely think that lately, at least, and I think it's partly due to the Lumpini partnership. They just, you know, Muay Thai is such a presence for one championship right now. But, you know, you look at the fact that there's no kickboxing on the U.S. debut, not a single kickboxing fight, and they've got 2 grappling matches on there. I think that's a mistake. You consider the fact that, you know, one championship has, you know, that featherweight division in one championship. The featherweight kickboxing division is maybe the best division in all of kickboxing. They've got 3 or 4 pound for pound guys in that weight class. You know, I think kickboxing definitely deserves more shine. That would be my take. Nick, what do you think? Is one kind of neglecting kickboxing right now at the expense of other things?
Well, obviously they're going to push Muay Thai more than kickboxing at the moment because every show is in Lumpini Stadium, and that means it's going to be Muay Thai, and then even MMA they're struggling to really promote. I think the crowd just doesn't really respond to it as much there. It's a pretty good crowd, but they definitely come more alive during the Muay Thai. And it's a gradual process, right? They're going to have to introduce MMA, and you know, kickboxing isn't as hard to get over there. But I understand why they're putting on Muay Thai at the moment more than kickboxing. But I think they got so many good kickboxers, yeah, and it slides in pretty naturally onto those cards. So I'd like to see a bit more of it. I think we got a bunch of champions waiting to defend belts, so let's do it.
Yeah, man.
Otherwise, we're
Yeah.
just going to wait till those for the next card outside of Lumpini. I don't know when that's going to be, other than Denver, right? Have we got any
Right, yeah.
kickboxing in Denver? I don't think we do.
No,
It's
none,
just
man.
MMA,
Not a
Muay
single
Thai, grappling.
kickboxing match.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I feel like
Yeah.
they could have done away with one of those grappling matches and included a kickboxing fight. Not even so much just so that they're like, you know, for kickboxing's benefit, but I feel like, you know, you're debuting in the US. You want to show US what you're all about. You promote 4 different martial arts. Show us all 4 on the debut card. All right, we got a special guest, I think.
This is Billy. He's a
Look at
mad
this
fucker. Say hello, Billy. Woof woof.
Very cute, man.
Yeah, he's a crazy MFer though. He's cute, but he's dangerous. He's just tearing up my kitchen at the moment.
That's the way it is with puppies, man. It's they're
Jesus.
nonstop, man. Unlimited energy. Is he going to the bathroom all over your apartment?
Yes and no. Yeah,
Okay.
he's just like going through the trash, knocking the trash down so he can eat the trash inside. There's not even any food, but he'll still eat the trash, like the
Yeah,
the
I do that
wrapping.
sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, look at that face. I can't be too annoyed at him, huh?
Yeah.
He's now going through my camera equipment, and yeah.
Well, maybe he's got a future in journalism, man.
Yeah. Stop! Don't eat that. All right. Sorry. Continue. What would you?
No worries, man. This is a good distraction. There's never a bad time for a puppy to make an appearance on this show. Let's move on to the co-main event. This is a good one. Cade Ruotolo defending his title against Tommy Langaker. I would say that this is maybe the best grappling match one has put on in terms of like just their accolades and what they've actually done in one. Both of these guys have fought a couple of times in one. Cade, of course, is the champion, has defended the title, I think, twice now. Tommy, I think, is maybe 2-0, if I'm trying to remember. But but yeah, I mean this is a good one. John, you're the resident grappling skeptic. What do you think of this matchup? Does this do anything for you?
You know, I guess he deserves it because he is 2-0. You know, I mean, in his last one, he did submit his opponent, but I don't know. I don't know why there's not more well-known names grappling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the Rotolo brothers are well known. You know, what I mean, even before they came to one championship, why can't they not bring other names in to face the Rotolo brothers? You know what I mean? Like, I don't. To me, it's like Tommy Laniker. Yes, we know him because he's competed, but is he going to draw attention to the Rotolo? Like, is he going to even challenge the Rotolo? Do you think he is a challenge for the Rotolo brother? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man, you know me. I'm not the biggest fan of like grappling on these cards, but it seems like they're just, I don't know, maybe they're just, is there such a thing as padding a record when you're a champion?
I don't know, man. I guess so. They're trying to.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
But
you know,
well, I like Tommy. He's a cool guy.
Who? Tommy? Well, I'm not
saying
he's not a cool guy. I'm just saying, like, is he gonna give a good fight? You know what I mean? Like, is he gonna?
He's actually he's got a very high level, and he's got a lot of achievements. And I think this is one of the highest level grappling matches they've put on by far.
I think it is the highest level, probably, in terms of like their relevance right now. Yeah.
And again, though, I think maybe a waste to do it in Bangkok at Lumpini Stadium. This might have been better suited to Denver. Something if you're really going for grappling market. But what can I say? Yeah, I do like Tommy. He's a fun dude, and he also likes to get on the beers after. And you know, he was out and about in Bangkok after his win over Uali Kurjev in February. Like the guy, Tommy Langarka, I think we spent about 10 minutes teaching me his name, Langarka. Right.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, I'm gonna Langarka. Sorry, I sound weird. Yeah.
You sound like you're trying to, you know, give him the respect he deserves by
sounds
pronouncing his name properly.
Sounds like how a Viking would pronounce their name, right?
Yeah. Now we had what's going on here. There's another Viking in one championship. I thought we were done with Vikings after the last Viking was released from the roster, but I guess not. He wasn't really the last Viking. Nick, clearly you're a big fan of this guy, Tommy. I sense that maybe there was some beers shared between the two of you. Does he have a shot in this one though? Is like Cade has looked great. Cade looks unstoppable.
Sorry, I've switched my Wi-Fi again. Let me know if it's better. So
it looks better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apologies about that earlier. I don't know if you're gonna have anyone who in one championship who could possibly push Cade. I think Tommy's the guy. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know too much about grappling, so I honestly couldn't give you any sort of prediction or analysis on this one. I'm just holding my hand on my heart and being honest. But I, as a casual grappling fan, I am interested in this fight, so I look forward to it. But don't look to me for any expert analysis. I'm very sorry, guys. I'll try and find someone who knows a bit more about it to maybe do some analysis for us on a future show. But Tommy's got a big following as well. I think that helps. People kind of sleep on that, the importance of that. But he's got a big Instagram following, definitely, and he brings in the European crowd as well, which is something I think one championship could maybe look to cater a bit more to sometimes. And you see it with Jonathan Haggerty winning the belt from Nongo, the explosion of interest from the UK in that fight. And, you know, the fact that people are even talking about we might do a one championship event in the UK, you know, Haggerty against Liam Harris. That's unheard of to me, I think, a few months ago, the prospect of one even going to Europe. So I'm down for guys like Tommy bringing big audiences and getting some eyeballs on one championship. And why not? I'm signing me up for this match. I'm not going to call it a fight, but Mikey likes to call it a fight, doesn't he? Yeah,
he does like to call it a fight. And you know what? He tore that guy's leg to pieces. That wasn't like any match I've ever seen. So Yeah, Nick, you may, that's very humble of you to say you don't know enough about grappling to make a prediction, but I think you know
I
enough
know
about
Jack
MMA.
S. Sweet FA. Yeah.
I disagree, man. I know you've done some grappling. You've put in some work on the mats at Bang Tao. I think your black belt is probably in the mail. Just wait. Let's talk about this next fight though, because I know you know these guys. Shine, I think is what we were calling this guy last time he fought. It's been a long time, right? I think that's what we'd shorten his name to. But he's a killer, man. This guy has a lot of potential. I think there was a controversial fight a little while ago, a DQ, if I recall. This is all just off the top of my head. And then, of course, Ilya Fraimanov is someone we all are watching very closely now after the debut he had against Martin last year. This is a crazy fight. There's a lot of really good fights on this card, but I think if you were to suggest that this might be the best of the night or one of the flashiest of the night, certainly that's an easy claim to make. John, I'll go to you first. I mean, what do you think of this fight, and what do you think of Shine? Do you remember this guy from a few years back?
Oh, of course, man. Like this dude is like a devastating, like a very risky style, right? Like he goes in there and he's willing to trade. And I think it's gonna be a fun fight. I call him Zolt the Bolt. You know what I mean? Look at his last name.
Yeah.
The dude is fast. You know what I mean? He has probably the best eyebrows in all of one championship. You know what I mean? Like, is that even natural? Like, is he going and getting that done somewhere in Mongolia? Maybe Mongolians are born like that. I don't know. But yeah, the dude has power. You know what I mean? He's had a few knockouts. He's knocked out. You know, we just saw Ali Mohammed, who like basically shotgunned the head off of his opponent. Then his opponent didn't even came back and beat him. You know what I mean? And that dude's a devastating start. He knocked him out, and he knocked out Hyunjin Lee as well. And then he knocked out Mai Jai Wen. That was a crazy knock. Was that the one where he was grappling? Like he grappled after he got knocked out? Well, anyways, the dude has knockout power. He'll go in there and trade. And I think Ilya's, I think Ilya's Rafael Fiziev's main training partner at Tiger Muay Thai. So just by knowing that, he's a striker. We saw what he did with Martin, and Martin is a phenomenal striker. So I think this is the best matchup MMA wise on the card. Like this is going to be the most exciting fight.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I was gonna say the best fight on the card. Of course, when you've got Superbon and stuff in action, it's hard to say that any fight will be better than whatever he's doing. He's such an exciting guy. But Ilya, I mean, really did look amazing in his debut. His boxing looked just unbelievable in that fight. So impressive. Nick, I know you're quite high on this guy as well. What's the ceiling for him? How much do we learn about him in this fight, you think?
He's future champion, I think, and it's going to get dicey, if he gets a couple more wins, because I think he's part of that Tiger Muay Thai with Tankai, and I know that Anatoly's breaking off some of the Russians next door to Brovnik. I think his gym is called, I can't remember. Anatoly set up a new gym right next door, so I don't know what's going on with Ilya, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. You got Shamil as well, the Cobra. What a great division we got right now! But I do think this guy is an uncut gem. He's a diamond in the rough. Whatever metaphor, turn of phrase you want to use, Ilya Fraimanov is real. I think I love Shine as well. He's so exciting, and he came through Warrior Series, which I love, and he had a great, like John was talking about, and then that crazy illegal kick. Got the red card against Nagahara, so he's exciting. It's going to be a huge, fun fireworks fight. But I'm picking Ilya. I think Ilya's gonna get it done. I don't know how, by violence. I'm just going to say that's the method of victory. But I think a lot of people in the chat are looking forward to it. Yeah, John KL saying he had a pretty good one Warrior Series run. Yeah, I think he only lost once to Mark Abelardo, who is not too shabby himself. So yeah, that's it. I've got nothing else to say.
Well, you sold yourself short on the grappling breakdown. I feel like that was an excellent breakdown of this matchup. So you've redeemed yourself. You can continue to appear on this show, I think, with your dignity intact. This is a great fight. I agree with what everyone's saying.
Did he beat the guy who put Olivier in the leg lock? Is that right?
Yeah, the Mai Jai win.
Yeah,
I just saw that clip on. I think one just shared that clip on Instagram like this morning or something. Maybe it's because they've just announced this fight. I don't know, but this is a great fight. I think my take is that Shine is obviously, like John said, he has a risky style, aggressive, and then Ilya, I think, is a real tactician on the feet, just so sharp. And I think that maybe what this one comes down to is whether that aggression from Shine causes problems for him against someone who's as sharp and clever as Ilya. Let's move on though, because there's lots of good fights on this card.
Yeah,
we were saying.
I feel like Shine is great, but there's just like that bit of a ceiling perhaps with him. There's a lot of guys in one who I'm not sure can take the next step up, but they're still exciting brawlers.
But he's more proven in one though.
He is,
that's true.
That's interesting.
Ilya's only fought once, and he fought Martin, right? And I know Martin's a former champ, and he knocked him out, but still, man, Zolt the Bolt with Mr. Eyebrows.
Man. Yeah.
Mr. Eyebrows, he has a bunch of fights. His only loss is a disqualification in his last fight, where he was probably going to end up getting a knockout again. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't underestimate Zolt the Bolt, man. Zoltan.
I would just say, I think Ilya's win over Martin was even more impressive than Tanley's and Kim Jae-young, and I know that sounds crazy.
Sure, yeah. No, but, I agree.
I think just the way he picked him apart was impressive.
Anyway, yeah, it was an incredible win. And I have to say, hats off to the one matchmakers for this fight. It's one that I wasn't really expecting, just because Ilya debuted with a win over a former champion. You sort of expect him to take a big jump up, fight someone in the top 2 in the weight class. Shine obviously is not ranked at the moment, but if you're complaining about this matchup on that basis, check your pulse, because this one's going to be crazy. Let's move on, though, as I said. Next one is a good one. We've got Superbon back in action, trying to bounce back from that crazy stoppage loss he had to Chingiz Alazov in his last fight. Ended his title reign, which was, really impressive. He's fighting Tayfun Özcan from Turkey. The Turbine. This is a good one. This was supposed to happen last year for a moment. There was that whole saga where Superbon's fights kept getting canceled and delayed and whatnot. And somewhere in that shuffle, he was supposed to fight Özcan, and it didn't happen. I'll start with you, John. Superbon, was on top of the world, and then he ran into Chingiz, and it all fell apart. And he really didn't have much to offer in that fight. Can he bounce back? I mean, what does he have to do to kind of regain his footing?
Well, this is a perfect opponent, I think, for him to come back and regain his footing. In the fight against Chingiz, I think Superbon was drinking his own Kool-Aid a little too much. A little too much, man. You saw the interviews after that fight against Petrosian, right? He was drinking the Kool-Aid heavy. And maybe he didn't take Chingiz as seriously as he should have, because Chingiz was ready and he bulldozed through Superbon, like really steamrolled him, right? And I did not expect that to happen at all. Superbon had nothing, like you said, he didn't have much for Chingiz, and I think Superbon got that reality check that he needed to show him, like, yo, there's some killers in these divisions, or in this division, and you need to take them seriously, just like you took Petrosian seriously. And I think he's gonna take that attitude into this fight, and he's gonna probably have a destructive performance in this one. I think he comes back and shows us. Nick, you talked to him, man. What was the vibes with Superbon last week?
Yeah, you know what, John? He kind of not full outright admitted to what you just said, but I think that was the hint that he got it wrong against Chingiz. He said he did the wrong game plan, and he should have fought him the way he fought Murat. A lot of people were saying, Superbon's taken his eye off the ball a bit since he's become a star, and same with Rodtang and Nongo, and Rodtang's going to be next to get knocked out. Edgar Tabarez is going to be the GOAT in Denver, but I don't know. I'm not going to say, I don't know for sure if you can say that these guys have relaxed or taken their foot off a little bit. Who knows? I think this is probably what Superbon needed, if that is the case. And what better way than to get in there and take that frustration out on Tayfun Özcan, who is a great opponent in his right mind. And I think this is going to be a great fight. And it was meant to happen in September, yes. And then Superbon got COVID, so they cancelled it. Tayfun ended up fighting Murat. Murat didn't have many problems against him, but Tayfun thought he won. He was pretty upset, and his fans were all upset. So it's not going to be an easy one. 100% big test for Superbon, and Tayfun's got nothing to lose, right? If he goes out and brings it from the first bell the way that Chingiz did, Superbon's in trouble, and we've seen Superbon has trouble dealing with punches. That's his weakness. It's not a mystery how to beat Superbon, but it's up to Superbon to solve that riddle and to keep Tayfun at bay with the teeps and all that. So let's see. I would go with the Superbon victory here, but Chingiz is fighting Marat Grigorian next as well. I think that's going to land in July or something, maybe June. So not on this card. It may be going to be. I don't know. Yeah, July's looking pretty stacked already. We've got 2 MMA title fights. But it may land there, but it could be Chingiz against Marat again. Sorry, it could be Superbon against Marat again. Could be Superbon v Chingiz. Could be Tayfun against Chingiz. Who knows? But I'm picking Superbon. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. Great breakdowns, guys. Nick, I'll just ask you, right off, no nonsense. Do you think that Superbon can become the champion again? Is that possible, or does Chingiz have his number?
He seems to think he can solve the riddle. He seems to think they can come up with a plan that would be more effective against Chingiz this time. And I also think, would Chingiz have run out of steam if that fight got into a third round, fourth round? Because Chingiz came out hot, man. He did the perfect fight, and if they run it back, I think it might go differently. Yeah, I'm sure Superbon would put a different plan in place. So I'm not going to write Superbon off. No, if people are saying he's finished this and that, absolutely not. You're gonna forget how good Superbon is. As soon as he gets in there, I'm sure he's gonna remind everyone. This is the guy who knocked the doctor out cold. Come on, the Giorgio Petrosian, the GOAT.
I think
Superbon flatlined him. So there's no way he's finished. No way.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone who's saying he's finished after just one loss, particularly a loss to the number two guy ahead of that matchup, now the number 1 guy. It's not like he lost to some scrub. He lost to the other best guy in the world. And I think people forget also that Chingiz looked quite a bit bigger in that fight. And that seemed like a factor to me in that matchup. I don't know how much of a factor it actually was, but Chingiz just looked like he bulldozed him. He just ran him over. And I think the size and the strength maybe played a factor in that. Any closing remarks on this amazing kickboxing fight, Nick?
I just thought he was going to miss weight. He failed his first 2 hydration tests, and then it was all good, but he looked massively bigger than Superbon. So I don't know how you deal with that if you're Superbon. If you bulk up slightly and try and pass the test, maybe some shenanigans a certain documentary maybe offers, but you never know. I don't know. I think Superbon would have to go into that, maybe get with a nutritionist, something to try and bulk up a bit, still make the weight. I don't know if that's possible. I struggle to lose any weight up, so I don't know how to do it. But that's it. I'd like to see it. Yeah, I think Superbon didn't give his best that night at all.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Sorry. Yeah. I think especially after everything Superbon had done, his resume. I think 1 win and he's right back in position to fight for the title. And
maybe these Thai guys, maybe Nongo and Superbon just don't like fighting in the morning. They've. It's early.
That could be it.
So I struggle to stay, to be on my game. And if you've got to be in a ring with a killer like Haggerty or Chingiz coming at you, and maybe these guys are coming from different time zones. I know Chingiz does his camp at Tiger, but who knows? Just a theory.
It's a good theory, Nick.
They like to fight at nighttime, perhaps.
Well, Nick's wearing his tinfoil hat today, but
the top of that division, it's a coin flip, man, in a lot of these matchups. Even this one too. You cannot count out Tayfun, right? You cannot count him out. Look at what is it? Who beat Superbon? Chingiz, right? Chingiz lost to what was it? Keel? He lost to Keel in his debut, Kale, right? Yeah, Kale. And Kale has lost to, I think Tayfun beat Kale. If I remember correctly.
Kale's gone now. I think he left.
Yeah, so it's a coin flip, man. In that top, we said it earlier. The featherweight division, kickboxing, it's probably the best division in kickboxing, right? For one championship, and it's just, you even have Sidichai there. You know what I mean? Like you could throw him in the mix as well. And We're waiting for the doctor to come back. You know what I mean? Let's see what happens with him. It's just, you know, it's crazy, man. But this fight is just an example of how deep that division is. And, you know, don't count out anybody. But yes, of course, Super Bond is the favorite, right?
Yeah, guys, and just I see a bunch of questions and stuff in the comments here. We'll get to some of them right now. I don't want to jump right into them when we're in the middle of kind of going through this card, but we'll get to some of them shortly. Let's just kind of bang through the rest of the fights on this card. I think we've kind of hit on the biggest ones, but we can preview it since it's just been announced. Jeremy Miato, of course, a contender at strawweight. The Jaguar back on the prowl, Nick. We both like this guy. Mansur Malachiev, I think, is making his debut. I was looking at him earlier. I think he's undefeated. I mean, I don't know a ton about this guy just because he's making his debut, but Miato, he always entertains, right, Nick?
Oh, I've always rated Mansur Malachiev. No, I have to admit, I've never heard of him. Don't know his name. He's not even got a picture on the website.
I think that's the Edward Flying cutout, I think, that they use for, for debuting fighters.
Yeah, well, I do know a little bit about Jeremy Miato, though. Yeah, like you said, I do like him. I thought he looked very impressive against Daniel Williams, but you know, Daniel's not, you know, MMA is not his bread and butter, and Jeremy missed weight. You have to take that into account. And he did beat Lito Aduang, but I think it was sort of freak knee injury for Lito, which he's only just really recovering from now. So that's not to knock Jeremy Miato, though. I think he is great and he's exciting, and I can't really say who I favor in this fight. I don't know Malachiev, but I know Miato is making noise about a title shot. He wants Jared Brooks, so who knows? A win here is not going to hurt him, is it? And but given this guy, I don't know anything about. He you know, Miato may need to get another win over I don't know who, you know, Ballard, someone like that, to really earn a shot with Jared. Bokang threw his hat in the ring after he beat Hiroba last weekend. Jared didn't seem too interested. I messaged him. I said, is Bokan next for you then? He said something along the lines of Bokan doesn't want that fight. So, I mean, Bokan said he wants that fight, but I think Jared means like he's going to beat him again. So it's all to play for. If Jeremy Miato goes and starches this guy, he can maybe improve his case for a shot, no?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I saw Jared say somewhere, I don't know if it was in our DMs or on a post that we made about talking about Bokong's head movement or something. He just didn't seem super impressed with Bokong's last performance. I don't think he saw anything that worried him that made him think a rematch would be any different. John, what do you think? I mean, do you know anything about this Mansur guy? And if Jeremy Miato beats him, do you think he deserves a title shot at Jared Brooks, or does he still have more work to do?
No, I think he does deserve a title shot because it seems like Jared Brooks wants new challengers. You know what I mean? He beat Bokang. He beat pretty much everybody in that top 5, right? And and this guy, he's on a 4-5 winning streak right now, right? That's if he beats this guy, finishes him, that's a 5-5 winning streak with 5 finishes. If he finishes him, that's a highlight reel package right there that they could promote. And Jeremy, if I'm not mistaken, he's from the Philippines, man. You know, they need some Filipino, you know, contenders. They need some Filipino champions up there, right? And I would never count out Jeremy Miato, man. The guy is just action-packed, dude. The dude just goes in there and goes wild. I don't even think he has a game plan. His game plan is to just throw them hands, right? And try to knock your head off. And who doesn't love that? You know what I mean? Who doesn't love that type of fighter? Yeah, I'm interested to see Jeremy Miato again just perform against anybody. But I'm just very odd that they put him against this shadow character, Mansur, right? Like we don't have no idea who he is. He's a shadow, right? How are you gonna beat the shadow? You can't hit the shadow.
Say it's impossible, yeah.
Exactly, right? It's like you move, the shadow moves. You know, like you can't even be ahead of the shadow. The shadow is ahead of you. You know what I mean? Or it just replicates what you're doing. So someone was saying it's a ninja, right? Yeah, the shadow is a ninja. Like Mansur's a ninja. I don't know. He's a ninja, Russian ninja.
He's 10-0.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, maybe one has seen something in this guy. I get the sense, you know, we've seen a lot of fighters making their debuts and totally disrupt the rankings. Ilya Framenov is a great example of that. Amir last year did it, obviously with Timothy Nastyukhin. It happens, you know. Maybe this Mansur guy is going to come in and just grappled Jeremy to death. I assume he's a grappler. He's 10-0. I think I saw some submissions on his record. And he is from Russia, so there's a good bet that he's a Sambo guy. Let's move on, though. This is a good fight. We've got some more kickboxing. Nikki Holzkin against Aryan Sadikovic. Sorry, I can't speak this morning. This is a good one. I mean, we know Aryan from his title fight with Reggie and Ursel. Nikki Holzkin, of course, is a name that anyone that follows kickboxing knows. I think if I'm not mistaken, he hasn't fought since he was knocked out by Sinsamut last March, unless I'm forgetting something. Nick, take it away on this one, man. What do you think of this one, and where does the winner kind of fit into the title picture at lightweight?
It doesn't seem to be a title picture at lightweight, and there's no way they do Holzkin and Ursel again. That was utterly decisive the second time. Arian has a lot of fans I can see on our Instagram. They're all cheering for him after I posted this card up yesterday or this morning. Can't remember when. I think it was yesterday. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think a title shot is really in the offing here, and I think, like we've seen, they seem to be focusing more on Muay Thai now, especially with Ursel, and I think, it's even guys like Tawanchai, they're looking to push him over to. It's just some divisions that don't have challengers, right? And Tawanchai they want to put into the kickboxing division. I think it's weird. They're looking to get him against Superbon, I think, at some point. So there are just some divisions in one which aren't really ready, and this just feels like it's not going to have too many consequences for me. But it still should be a really exciting fight. Nikki Holzkin's a legend. We all know that. Been on the end of a couple of rough losses lately, but he still always brings it. It's still exciting. What can I say? The natural. Always fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, John, anything to add? I mean, have you been following Nicky's career? He's had some tough losses, as Nick said, and I'm seeing some people in the comments saying that he's washed. That his best days are over. What do you think? Have we seen the best of Nicky Holzkin already?
Yeah, I think so. I think his best performance was his debut against Cosmo Alexander when he got that knockout, right? I think that was like, that's when they signed him, right? And that's when he was, I think, at the tail end of his prime. And since then, everybody, goes on a downslope eventually in their career, right? And he's had many, many fights. I don't think that there's any kind of contendership type of thing going on in this matchup. I just think Nikki Holzkin loves to fight, and the One Championship loves giving him matchups, and this is a matchup. I've never seen Aryan Sadikovic fight, man. I have no idea who he is, to be honest with you. So I'm interested to see if he could go in there and put a legend on his resume. I think this is more of an opportunity for Aryan rather than for Nikki.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said, man. Let's just move on to the next one. John, I'll pitch it right back to you because Kwan Wandale is back. I know this is a guy you know well. Nick and I love him too. He's fighting Artem Belloc, who I spoke to the other day. Another guy that Nick and I have sort of come to appreciate over the last couple of years, just because he's always engaging with us on Instagram and stuff. Just a really nice guy. Both nice guys, but more than anything, this is a fight between two really good bantamweights. John, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, Artem, another Tiger Muay Thai fighter. There's a lot of Russians out there, man. A lot of European fighters out there training, and man, it's stacked up there. It's hard to say what I expect out of this fight. I mean, when you look at the resume, Kwan, he's fought the cream of the crop, right? I mean, even though he's lost, but man, he's faced them. I mean, he's not afraid to fight the best guys, and I think that's kind of his advantage, is that he's fearless. Artem, he's still new to the division, new to the promotion. He's getting a huge opportunity to fight Kwan. He has more to gain from this matchup than Kwan does. I mean, Kwan is what happened in his last fight? I just keep forgetting what exactly happened with Kwan.
He fought Mark Abelardo in his last fight.
Yeah,
that crazy back and forth fight, and he ended up knocking him out. Yeah, that was a great fight. Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's coming off a good win against Mark Arboleda. I think that was a good. I'm surprised that they made this fight. After he won that one. If he was coming off the loss against Fabricio and they made this matchup, I can understand it. I think it's just a setup fight for Artem, to be honest with you. Maybe Quan, has he hit his peak with the division? I have no idea, man, but we'll find out in this one, right? Can Artem take this guy out? You know what I mean? Quan has surprised us a few times, right? He's come in as the underdog, because he doesn't really look like much, you know what I mean? Like physically, he doesn't look like a fighter, right? He just looks like he's like the Korean Chase Hooper, but he can actually knock people out, right?
It's a good way of putting it, yeah.
But he could actually fight, right? He could actually knock people out, right? He's got devastating power. But yeah, he looks like the Korean Chase Hooper. That's his new name.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah, that's a good one, man. You're great at the nicknames, John. I got to give you credit for that. Zolt the Bolt, Korean Chase Hooper. You're on fire today, man.
Yeah.
Nick, let me pitch it to you. As I said, these are two guys that you and I have both spoken to quite a bit, gotten to know over the years, and of course, we've seen them fight many times. We know how good these guys are. Who wins this one, Nick, and where does the winner kind of land in this crowded bantamweight division? You got to assume that the winner of this one is going to be right. Oh, we've lost Nick. Well, I'll answer this one. I was going to say, where does the winner of this one land in the bantamweight division? I just spoke to Artem Belok the other day, and he wants the title. He's thinking about the title.
Can you hear me?
We can, yeah.
Okay, I can answer when you go first.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say I should mention actually that I did speak to him the other day, and he wants to fight for the title. He's determined to work his way to a title shot. And the question a lot of people have, I think, is what is his relationship with Fabricio like? Because they both train at Tiger Muay Thai, but he made it very clear they don't actually train together day to day. They bump into each other every now and then and exchange hellos, but they're not friends. They're not brothers. They will fight each other. He wants the title. We know Quan wants the title. Nick, where does the winner of this one land in the kind of title picture?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Because if Quan wins, he's already lost to Fabricio, and Fabricio's got other fish to fry. I won't say bigger fish, you know what I mean? Because I really like Quan. I think he's got excellent boxing, and the Korean Chase Hooper, that's a fun name, and he's a really nice guy. But he fools you. He looks deceivingly kind of doesn't look like a fighter, like John said, or someone who would think is so imposing, but he's dangerous, man. And he shut down Kevin Bellingham with that body shot. That was incredible, and I really like this guy Quan. Artem comes with some hype as well. He trains with those guys in Tiger, like John was saying. He got some good training partners with him. It wasn't so great. I think he wanted a finish last time, had to get a decision. It's always difficult to build your name off decisions, especially in one championship. Chatri always going on about the finish rate, and he's always looking for guys who can get knockouts, and that seems to be the way forward in one. So if Artem beats Quan, I think he puts his name in the hat. He'd be in their rankings, I think. But we know Lohman is probably first for Fabricio MMA wise, but Fabricio's out here calling Jonathan Haggerty's name and Pet Tanong, Pet Fergus. I'm interested in that as well. I want to see some of these guys. I think that's a really fun division in terms of the three sports. You could have some crossovers there. Haggerty v Fabricio. I didn't know how much I wanted that fight until
they crazy
stoked it up a little bit. Pet Tanong v Haggerty, Pet Tanong v Fabricio. This will be so interesting. But yeah, I think Artem and Quan should be a good fight. If you're asking me for a prediction, I really don't know. Actually, I haven't seen enough of Artem to give you a conclusive opinion on him. But 10-2. He's coming with a good reputation, and I think he's got a lot to prove here. Decision against Issa on the debut. He'll want to get a finish. He's got 4 chokes before that. So Quan better watch out. The Korean Jace Hooper, got to watch for that choke.
Yeah, it's this is a good fight. Quan's got the boxing, as you said, Nick. Artem is a good grappler, and both guys are in the top 5 now. In case people miss that, Artem's number 5 and Quan is number 4. So no matter how you swing it, this is an important fight. Let's move on to the next one. I
I
feel
think
that we
they
can
put
kind of
Artem in the rankings for this fight. I
probably
don't
so.
think
Yeah.
he was. It was a classic one
I know-
move of.
I noticed he did just to sort of appear one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I think I said he'd be in the rankings after this. But yeah, I think he's already got put in for the purpose of this fight. But you know what? Fine, the rankings are what they are. We know. So
what can you do? Yeah.
What can you do? Yeah, and who's to say he doesn't deserve it? But Quan Monel, Artem Belk. I'll be looking forward to this one. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I was just going to move on to the next one, which is admittedly much less of an appealing fight. That's, not to criticize these two fighters. Martine Micheletto making her debut against Amber Kitchen. Martine, we don't know a ton about her, just given that she's making her debut. I know she fought in Bellator kickboxing a couple times when that existed a few years ago. She was supposed to fight Anissa Mexen at one point in 2021, but that didn't happen. And now, of course, she makes her debut against Amber Kitchen, who is a good fighter, but has been catching some L's lately. Lost to Jackie Buntan, lost to, who was it, Deandra Martin, and is still being given a chance and won. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it, but I would say this is probably her last chance. John, do you know anything about these two?
Amber Kitchen, of course. She's fought a few times and she's pretty much known for losing, right? In one championship, but she puts up a good fight, man. I still feel like she's super young. She's 24. I always talk about that, right, with you guys. It's like some of these fighters, they're still so young. And the one thing about one championship is like they're not gonna cut you. I mean, if you lose, I think they're willing to invest in you if you have potential. And I think Amber Kitchen does have potential. I believe she's training with I think she's training with Liam Harrison, right? Closely now, a little bit more,
okay.
right, as of late. I've been seeing some videos out there, so hopefully that will be beneficial for her coming into this fight against Micheletto. She's Italian. You heard what I said, right? You heard how I said it, right?
That was great.
Straight like
great
an
pronunciation.
Italian. Pronunciation is impeccable. I'm half Italian. But anyways, I'm excited for her. I saw an article posted about Micheletto and. Yeah, man, I'm excited to see what she can do. I'm excited to see like if she can, prove something against Amber Kitchen, or is Amber Kitchen going to be able to, kind of turn the tide in her career with a solid victory over her. But I feel like they're going to go all 3 rounds in this fight. I think they're going to be battling, and Micheletto, she's going to be out there to prove something against Amber Kitchen. Maybe she sees some vulnerabilities in Amber Kitchen, right, because of those 3 losses. Who knows, man? And also, when you're losing 3 in a row, what's the confidence like? Heading into this next one, it's something interesting to see. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's sort of an important fight for both women, as Guan has said here. Amber's mother, of course, is a kickboxing icon, a Muay Thai fighter. Excuse me. So, there's some name value there. I think that's partly why she's still around. So this is her chance to kind of prove that she belongs for more reasons than her name. And Martine's chance to kind of prove what she's all about, as a newcomer. Let's roll on, though. This next fight is really good. We were talking about some of the other bangers on this card. This one, to me, is a sleeper. Woo Sung-hoon against Hu Yong. Both of these guys are riding kind of similar wins. Woo Sung-hoon, in fact, they may have fought on the same day. I think they were both fighting in the Philippines, or maybe no. Woo Sung-hoon fought Yuya in November in Singapore, if memory serves. Knocked him out inside a round, and Hu Yong, of course, knocked out Gehe, the former champion. So you've got these 2 guys riding quick knockout wins over top contenders, former champions, title challengers. This one seems like it could end very quickly. It's a very important one for the weight class. Nick, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think of this fight? This is kind of a sleeper for one of the more interesting fights of the night, I'd say, right?
Yeah, you just said it, man. I'm really excited for this. Those 2 guys just upset the apple cart. They tipped those divisions. Tipped this division on its head with wins over 2 guys. Former champion and former title challenger. I can't wait to see this. It's going to be great. Hu Yong looked incredible. We saw that in Manila. And Wu not too bad himself. It's one of those I just can't predict a winner. I'm just gonna put my hands up and say I don't know. It's gonna be explosive though. I think it's a little bit early for such violence. That's what it's gonna be 7:15, 7:30, something like that. But our man Guto, who came on the show earlier, he's gonna get us warmed up against Ratty. So let's see. I can get someone get knocked out at 7 a.m. I'm there for it. I wouldn't mind a little bit of grappling to ease me in. Just maybe they could guys, if you're listening, get some grappling on for those first fights while people are filing in the doors. Ease us in. But no, I'm just kidding. I do really, really want to see this fight. Like these two guys, I think, we're looking at potentially the sky's the limit. They could be future challengers. You don't know in flyweight, and who knows if DJ is retiring, like he's making noise about, and we may talk about in a little bit after we finish this card. That division is going to need new blood, and there are some of the old guard are also getting on a bit, like Jay Hay. Yuya's still pretty young, so he'll be fine, but I think Jay Hay, that was a tough loss for him that we saw. So it's time maybe for some new blood, Tom.
Yeah, well said. And I think some people too are kind of, I don't want to say getting tired, but we've been seeing, Adriano fight Kairat forever. We've seen sort of a lot of these matchups happen already. Jay Hay, we've seen, who else is up there? There's 4 or 5 guys that have sort of been fighting each other for a little while in one. And I think the idea of having some new guys like Hu Yang and Wu Sung Hoon coming through, giving these established fighters some new looks is something that a lot of people are keen on. John, unless you have anything to add about that fight in particular, I think we can kind of not take any more time on the Rade versus Guto fight, being that we spent 20 minutes talking about it with Guto himself at the beginning of the show. This is a solid card, and I think based on what I'm seeing in the comments, everyone sort of has the same impression of this one. It's not, it doesn't have any huge names. It's not, a blockbuster in terms of, name value, but a lot of good fights, a lot of competitive fights that could go either way, and a lot of kind of important fights for a few really good weight classes. Obviously, the featherweight kickboxing division, the bantamweight MMA division, the flyweight MMA division, a couple of fights here that could really kind of change the landscape. Nick, you were talking about the flyweight title picture. Mighty Mouse potentially retiring after his fight with Adriano coming up next week in Denver. We will be there. I saw someone asking about that. If we'll be on the ground there, whoever that was, yes, we will be there. But yeah, let's talk about this. Mighty Mouse said kind of in passing in an interview that this may be his last one. And I noticed one has really run with that angle for some reason. I don't know if they think, the possibility that this is his last fight will encourage more people to watch. I guess so. But they mentioned it I'm not even kidding, probably 10 times during the last broadcast.
It feels like a bit of a ploy to me. I'll be honest.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It was hard not to feel that way. I think they're thinking, I'm sure they're hoping he continues to fight because he's one of their biggest names, and the more fights they can get out of him, the better. But it seems like also they like the idea of, selling this as his potential retirement fight. It gives people extra reason to tune in because you might not get another chance. John, let me go to you on this. Does Mighty Mouse retire after this? Are you buying that?
It's hard to buy any kind of MMA retirement, right? It's MMA.
Yeah.
People retire all the time and then come back 1 month, 1 year, 2 years later. It's what the sport is about. It's fighting, It's different than a lot of other sports, Once people retire in other sports, they're pretty much gone. It's very rare when an athlete comes back because it just takes too much out of them to return, and reach that peak once again. If he does retire, good for him. Because I think he's probably made enough money, and he's accomplished enough, right? And if he wins and he retires, I think that's probably going to be the scenario. If he wins, defends the belt again successfully, he retires. I think that's what will happen. If he loses, it's kind of hard to retire when you're still in your prime and you lose the belt and then hang up the gloves. You want to end it on the highest peak possible, right? And that would be the highest peak. U.S. debut for one championship, you pretty much pulled it off yourself, right? You're the main attraction. You're the champion, and and you win in the main event, you hold the belt up, and you take off your gloves and you retire, man. It'll be perfect, man. It's almost like an end to a good movie. You know what I mean? I think that's what we could probably see.
Yeah, it really feels like I have to say, it does feel like an opportunity for a storybook ending for Demetrius Johnson, and it's kind of cool too, because when he came to one, part of the storyline was, he wasn't appreciated in America. They didn't get him. He never caught on, but now here he is coming back. It seems like people are excited about it. He's coming back as a champion of another promotion in Asia to win one more time, defend his title against a worthy challenger who's beaten him before. Like you said, holding his belt up in the mountains of Denver. There's a kind of poetry to that. So I believe the retirement rumors on that basis. But I have to assume he's got more left in him, because it's not like he's been losing or even he lost to Adriano, but then he avenged it. It's not like he's been getting blown out of the water in all of his fights or anything. He presumably still has a lot less to give. Nick, what do you think? Are we nearing the end of his career?
First of all, sorry, I put on my aircon. Is it really loud? Is it okay?
I can't hear it at all. No.
Okay, great. It's pretty damn hot. I'm sweating on camera here. Sweat season is fast approaching. I'm quite looking forward to being in Denver, because it's going to be hot as hell, I think, next week. But I don't think DJ is going to retire. I think they're just using it as a ploy to get more eyeballs on the event, because why wouldn't you tune in if it's Mighty Mouse's last fight, right? I think. And just even teasing the prospect, I think a few people extra are going to, put down an Amazon Prime subscription, I don't think he's going. I think he's still got so many interesting fights in one, win or lose. When I spoke to him in January, we had pretty lengthy chat, even off camera. We were chatting a bit after the show, just about life, about video games and things. And he was saying to people around the table, he's just at peace now. He doesn't have to prove anything. And that's like the best place he's ever been in. And it takes a lot of pressure off of him, he was saying, in terms of the outcome of fights. If he loses, it's like, I just go home and be dad. It doesn't matter. And from what I could sense, he still has a lot of hunger to fight, even without the belt. There's matchups, not just in MMA, in kickboxing and grappling. He's talked about doing Muay Thai fight or kickboxing fight. So I could see him doing some crossover stuff, with Mikey. I could see him doing something with Jared. If Jared's still the champion, Jared might come up. They could do a super fight. I could see him. There's plenty of challenges he still hasn't fought in his division. You've got guys like Reese, Kairat, maybe some of these new guys, Hu Yong or Wu. Mm-hmm. So plenty of fights if DJ wants. He might think, my legacy is my legacy. He could easily walk away if he wants to, but I don't think so. I think the money's too good for DJ right now. He gets paid a lot, and he's worth that money, and I think make as much money as you can right now, because he didn't make much in the UFC. So keep bringing the money in for another 4 years, maybe 3, 4, 5 max, and then he's going to slide right into a lucrative commentary gig with one championship. They're going to look after him for life. His boy Matt Hume will not let DJ go without work. So I think we're going to see plenty of DJ. I might be completely wrong. It's happened many times. He may win and then put the gloves down in Denver, Tom, and we'll be crying, tears shedding our eyes. But no, I think we'll see him again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. Even if he retires from MMA after this, which I think is possible, I think, the Mikey matchup, I think one would love to do that. I think that's kind of buzzy for them. They would do that grappling match, maybe, whether it's for a title or not. I think, some kickboxing, maybe just for fun. I can see one kind of getting in on this influencer stuff at some point, like bringing in some retired boxer for DJ to have a boxing match with or something, just that kind of thing. Like, he's a legend. And I think if he retires from MMA, they may want to keep him around and let him have a little bit of fun in some of these, I don't want to call them freak shows, but some of these sort of crossover attractions and stuff. He's just too big of a name, and if he's willing to compete in any fashion, I think he will continue to do that in one. Now, we've been going pretty long, guys. I don't know how long you guys want to stay here, but there are a couple more things we could talk about. And one we started talking about right at the beginning was Francis. So maybe we can kind of start to wrap up a little bit with some Francis chat. I don't know who to go to first on this. I think we all probably have a lot to say about it. Nick, why don't you start us off? Francis, there's been talk about him potentially coming to one again. As Chatri has admitted to being in talks with him, and as we said before, he sort of was it was mum's the word before, but now he's made a little more open about what's been happening. He's meeting him in LA this weekend. I think he said, "What's going to happen here, man? How does this shake out with one and Francis?"
Yeah, it seems pretty orchestrated, to me that Francis is going to be in Denver, and they're going to maybe show him cage side, and then that's going to cause some buzz on social media, and it's going to make some other organizations pretty angry, because they thought they had him. I think Francis is good at playing these guys against each other. He's probably I wouldn't expect him to commit to one this weekend with Chatri, but he might say, "Yeah, I'll come to Denver, and then let's keep talking." But do I think he's going to sign with one? I think it's possible. It's possible because Chatri said on Ariel's stream, we're open to co-promoting boxing with him. So it looks like the boxing avenue is open, and we know that's what he wants to do. I think the Malakin fight is a great fight, and Buchecha is a good fight. And then if he knocks off those two, there's some other guys he can just bulldoze through if he wants and get an easy paycheck. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he's better fit in another organization, John? Do you think PFL or Bellator is a better land for Ngannou?
It's hard to say. I think Francis he just wants money. And is it worth one championship? Is it worth it to them to sign him for a ridiculous amount of money? It seems like Chatri is saying that they have the money to sign him. You know what I mean? And, we've heard from, I think it was the BKFC president. He was saying that Francis is asking for crazy money, right? Like beyond reality. And if it's beyond reality, I think Chatri does have that type of money. I think they do have that type of money to throw at him. But is it going to be worth it? Would they ruin the promotion by giving all this money to Francis? You know what I mean? And what does that say to everybody else in the promotion? Are they not as valuable? You know what I mean? If you're going to throw some, yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. You know what I mean? Chatri has said that, he the heavyweight division will be a tough division, but I don't think Francis is looking for the toughest division. He's not. Mm-hmm. He's looking for the highest pay. That's what he's looking for. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter about competition for him. It's all about the money, man. And I don't think it's going to be worth it for them to sign Francis. With all that money that they could probably give Francis, they could sign a bunch of other guys, a bunch of them. You know what I mean? And probably get their return off the other guys, and developing, prospects around the world, finding the next Francis, like they found Malakin, you know what I mean? Like finding those guys, and they don't have to pay this ridiculous amount of money. It's good for the headlines, man, to be honest with you. Like Chachi going around and doing these interviews with everybody and talking about it openly. It's good for the headlines. It draws attention, and it's good for the viewership for Amazon Prime, right? For the show in Denver. But at the end of the day, man, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore the timing of all this. Obviously, talking about Francis, drums up headlines. It gets people talking about one championship too, and they need people talking about them right now because they're debuting in the U.S. next week. I don't know. I can see Francis coming to one in some context, maybe for a couple of MMA fights. Like people have said, I don't think he's after the toughest challenges. I think, the idea of going and fighting somebody really good for not a ton of money is not very appealing to anybody. I think if he can get a lot of money to fight people he thinks he can beat, that's the ideal situation. And I don't think people should criticize him for that either, because he's almost 40. And he's already spent several years fighting the best opposition available in the UFC, right? So if he wants to ride off into the sunset, fighting whoever he wants, that's fine by me. I would love to see him in one. The Malakin fight is crazy, and I'm actually with Chatri on this one. That's a tough fight for Francis, I think. Malakin at this point, I would say, is a tough fight for anyone. unless you guys have anything to add about Big Fran coming to one championship, I'm going to throw up a couple of questions here that have been kind of incubating, waiting for us to answer them. There's a question here about Panda's next fight, and right below it, a question from our guy Percy about Smila Sundel's next fight. We're all wondering about these two. We've been wondering about Tang Kai. We've been wondering about John DeBella, though we now know that one has at least contacted him about a fight. Nick, have you heard anything about Smila Sundel's next fight, about Xiang Jingnan's next fight?
I have heard diddly squat about either of them, but I think Jingnan now has an opponent, at least, Meng Bo. So, yeah, I think Meng Bo's win over Diane Cardoso locks her up that shot against the Panda. So, who knows? I kind of ambushed Meng Bo over breakfast on Sunday and said, "When do you want to fight her?" And she kind of didn't really understand, but she said, "I don't know." Yeah, I think it's not going to be anytime soon. It looks like, the June card is locked up, and July might be a little too soon. So who knows? August could be the earliest. But yeah, I think that one's a no-brainer now. Smilla, what do you do? There's a lot of issues, in with Anissa, and if she could. I think they want Anissa to fight her. Really, I do. I think that would be, but Anissa doesn't want to go up. She's all about atom weight. If Anissa really wanted to, she could have taken that fight, I think, but she's not interested. So I think Smilla. I asked Anissa about that, and she didn't want it. She wanted Janet. What do you think that would be easier if she stopped fixating on the Janet Todd fight, and maybe Smilla's a tougher challenge for her, but I don't know. But I don't see any other challenges for Smilla, right? They need to determine someone. I think you've got Jackie versus Deandra, is it?
And they're both riding wins. Yeah.
So that Jackie could get a rematch, but I'm not sure it would go any differently. I'm sure Jackie would say different though. So, and I got nothing against fighters with self-belief. So we could do that again. But yeah, Smilla's so young. She probably finished in school, man. She's like, 17 or how old is she? Yeah. So I don't think they're going to be rushing her, and, not to harp on about it, but I think they maybe are going to be a little reluctant to push fighters who are under 18, after what's happened with Victoria Lee. So I think we could see the brakes put on that on any younger fighters in one championship, just until sort of reach the age a little bit older. But I don't know. I haven't got any news on that.
Yeah, that was all good insights, man. I sort of feel like for Xiang, they were maybe waiting for the Cardozo and Meng Bo fight just to see what happens, and now that Meng Bo's won, they have, a Chinese challenger and a Chinese champion. Maybe they could line those two up on the same card as Tang Kai's comeback. It sounds like he'll be defending his title against Tan Lee next, probably. There's been some rumors, but nothing official. Maybe they could put those two Chinese champions on the same card, presumably not in China. I don't think they're going to be doing that anytime soon, but maybe that's the move, and make it a big card for Chinese fans. And then for Smilla, yeah, I can't argue with anything you said there, Nick.
Well, Ego kind of says she started a training camp, 2 weeks ago. So with no clue who her opponent is. So yeah, it could be soon. Yeah, could be August, July.
I hope so. There was another question I saw somewhere up here. Man, we got a lot of comments from people today. So thank you everyone for contributing. And I saw someone, I think it was WMMA Scene Now, mentioned that there's a lot less negativity in the comments this time. That's good to see. We had, I don't know what set them off, if it was our rankings or something, but the last 2 or 3 of these podcasts, we've had just like a packed house full of assholes, if I may say. People coming in just kind of harassing us over things. Last time someone was really giving us a hard time. So it's refreshing when everyone's being nice to us, because hey, we're just here to have a good time with you guys, talk one championship with you guys.
I think Rio is going to be upset that Denise Samboanga won as well, because she's not very good.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I never should have suggested that Tiffany Teo could outstrike that guy. I don't think I'll ever live that one down in his eyes. Rio, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. The flowers are on their way.
It's all good.
Yeah,
we
guys.
love all of you anyway. Don't worry about it.
We do,
I think
man.
my
it's just
nemesis
banter.
James, I saw him in the chat, so it's all good. Come at us.
It's just banter,
anytime.
guys. Yeah, come at us. Just don't be surprised if you get a little bit back sometimes. Especially from JHK, man. This guy doesn't take any crap from anybody. Yeah. Well, guys, I don't know. We've been going for almost 2 hours here. I think we've kind of covered everything, Nick. Unless there's anything pressing and newsworthy you would like to discuss, John. Anything on your mind? Anything you want to get off your chest? This is the place to do it. This is a safe space. Anything you want to say?
Jerry Springer died. Rest in peace.
Really?
Did he really?
Yeah, I just saw it.
And Nate Diaz is in jail.
Nate Diaz is in jail for self-defense.
You know what, man? I'll say something on the Nate Diaz thing. This guy is almost 40 years old, man. I don't care if you're about this life or whatever people say. Stop fighting people in the streets when you're a 40-year-old, man. You're old enough to have 20-year-old kids. Like, your kid could be going to college and you're out here choking people out in the street. So
he has kids. That's the thing. He has.
Does he? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing about this stuff, man. It's not funny to me anymore. It's just embarrassing. I don't know, man.
It is.
I'm glad this is something. For the most part, it seems like one championship fighters have kept themselves out of trouble on that side of things. They don't seem to be getting in as many street fights as people in the UFC. I can't say why that is, but as a person covering the sport, and covering one championship, I'm grateful that I don't have to write articles about people choking each other out in the streets of New Orleans. It's a very nice thing. So thank you to the fighters of one championship for not limiting their violence to the circle and the ring.
It's all about honor and respect and
they've got honor, integrity,
and
discipline.
Exactly, right.
Real life superheroes, a lot of them.
Yeah, I did have one other thing. I think did you talk about Tenkai and Tanley? They've announced that for July.
They have announced it. Oh, they have announced it. I didn't know that it was official yet. Okay, good.
Yeah. It was kind of went out on Chinese social media, and then Nolan King did something on it, I think, and then I just saw on Instagram actually one have put it out now. So yeah, that's cool fight. That'll be a nice card actually. You got Anatoly Arjan and now Tang Kai Tan Lee. So nice double header of MMA title fights. Who knows? Maybe Chingas and Marat's gonna land on that card. That'd be pretty sick. 3 title fights.
Yeah, man. There's some good fights coming up. One has been I think we all sort of felt like, they were just so dialed in on this US debut. It's consumed like so much of their focus for the last little while. But it seems like, now that this card's been made, the fights are official, they're finally starting to kind of reveal their plans for the coming months. And I think we were all sort of wondering what was coming after this US debut, but it's nice now to see the fights rolling in. Nick, John, let's wrap it up with this. Maybe, are you guys satisfied with the summer that One Championship is putting together for us after this big Denver debut? Do you feel like we have lots more to look forward to? John, you go first, man.
Isn't the summer still undetermined, right?
Well, I mean, they've announced the Tang Kai versus Tan Lee fight. They've announced the Reggie Nursel title defense, the Cade fight. They're finally starting to announce some fights. We didn't know anything about what was happening after the Denver show. And like, are you satisfied with what's coming? I feel like a lot of people were worried there would be a bit of like a drop off after the Denver show, but it seems like they're putting some good things together at least.
Yeah, I think that we might see some more fights being announced, right, for those cards. I don't think they're complete, right? So hopefully there's more fights, you know what I mean? Because more title fights. There's still a lot of champions that haven't fought in a while. So let's get some of these cards up to like 3 title fights on them, you know what I mean? Just in case one of them falls off, because it's been happening lately, right? Of fights getting canceled. But yeah, it's not that bad, you know what I mean? I would like to see more MMA, more MMA title fights. That's what I would like to see. But with DJ, who's gonna be in Denver? You're gonna be in Denver?
I'll be there, yeah. And Nick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick, you're gonna be there too. Okay.
Yeah, but this channel may not be there anymore, guys, because James is gonna get a shadow banned.
Oh,
James,
God.
we love you too, man.
James.
Yeah.
What did
Damn
we
it,
call
man.
you?
I thought
can't
we were
even-
cool again, you know? Just said
Oh, man.
it's all good.
Is
Well,
James
we,
part of
we respect
Drake's?
you, man.
Is James part of like Drake's army? Is
Yeah.
he
His
one of
towel
those guys?
army.
Yeah, his towel army. Yes.
No, I think James is joking. I hope James is joking.
Yeah, I think
James
James
was-
always been like, he's given and taken, right?
James is our boy.
I
He knows
know.
the game. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does.
I hope
man.
so.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you
some
don't
people
want to. Don't mess with us, please. Yeah.
Shadow band.
We have South China Morning Post behind us, so
yeah, that's a machine.
we have
right there.
lawyers as well, and a machine and money. Yeah, and you've just admitted to it on camera. And
Shadow band.
yeah,
Nick is feeling very litigious this morning. Let's avoid any legal battles.
I think
it's all good, man.
if we get shadow banned, that means we finally made it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's like these debuting one fighters who have the shadow picture. It's kind of the same thing. It's a sign that you've made it to the big show.
Yeah, but
all right.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that August 4th card, man. I'm thinking that we might get something big on that one.
I hope so, man.
I think that we're gonna get something massive on that. Didn't Rainier the Ritter? Maybe we might get him on there. Defending his belt. I like to see him back in MMA.
That's sort of how I feel, right? Is like they announced this Denver show, and as I said, they were focused so much on this show, in stacking this card, and they weren't really announcing anything for after. And now they started to announce things, but I feel like as I'm excited for the Cade and Tommy fight. I'm excited to see Super Bond back. There's lots to be excited for, but I feel like they still haven't announced that next thing that I'm like really hyped for. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm excited, and I hope before the Denver card they've kind of announced the next big event or something. Announce the Arjun and Anatoly fight. Give us something really big to look forward to, because they're going to have a lot of momentum after this Denver card, and I think, they just got to make sure they keep the momentum going. Nick, what do you think, man? Why don't you wrap it up for us here? Are you excited for what one does after this? What do you think the next few months look like for one after this big the US debut?
I think just going to have some stacked cards in Lumpini, which not going to be featuring, any big stars and your DJs and such, but they're going to be fun events. I think we're going to hopefully have multiple title fights on the cards, and I always enjoy them. Yeah, but I think they're going to take a little bit of time to regroup after Denver, and just going to hang tight in Bangkok at Lumpini, save a bit of money, in that stadium, and then I think they're going to probably come back with a big card in the fourth quarter in Manila, something like that. Maybe stack that one up. Who knows? Maybe do a double header. That would be interesting. I think bringing back the nighttime Asia shows should be their next step. Or they may go all in on US. Who knows? And announce another one there if it's a big success. But yeah, I think bringing back some nighttime shows, that's the next big thing I hope to see. Even though it's going to double the workload for us, but it would be cool. Just I want to see some more fighters get fights, and it's a bit of a ridiculous backlog. Yeah. Anyway, James is going at us here, man. Sorry.
I know it seems James is serious. Well, James, I'm sorry that we've struck a nerve. Don't blow a vein. If you don't like the show, don't watch it, man.
What's wrong with him? He's got his panties in a bunch.
I don't know. I thought he was joking, but maybe not.
Is it red panty night at the James Kendrick house? What's going on, man?
I don't know, but he's going to take us down, guys. So I guess this is the end of the podcast. I apologize, everyone. You have James to thank for it. If this ends next week, he's a powerful man, guys.
He's a cartoon character.
We're pawns in his game. Sorry we bothered you, James. But if you don't like the show, respectfully, go watch a different one, man.
Do you think they're going to add any more events?
I will answer James's question from earlier, which
well, if that's what you're mad about, sorry we missed it. There's a million questions in here. If we miss anything ever, guys, it's not a slight. Sometimes, if a question is disrespectful to a fighter or something, we won't put it up. But sometimes they do get buried. People comment pretty quickly here, and it's hard to kind of stay on top of everything. So if your question doesn't make it onto the screen, please don't take that as a personal insult.
Yeah, just the other thing you can do is repeat the question, and we'll see it again, because sometimes we just kind of speak for the first hour or so. But as Guan Yu says,
answer James's question.
If a channel insulted me, I would unsub and stop watching. Yeah, James, just if you don't
we
want to do it, man.
We don't insult anybody until they insult us first. You know what I mean? Like we're not attacking it. Right? It's weird. But James,
look,
you don't have to get all sensitive about we didn't see your
Chuck
question.
here has been banned from the channel by
multiple times.
Alvin, and I kept adding him back in, and then Alvin would ban him again, and I think Alvin banned a few of us people, and I just realized we don't need a moderator. We love Alvin, but I will handle the banning myself, and Tom can and John. So look, we like all you guys. Don't worry, it's fine. Chuck's gonna get us a round of drinks as well, so we'll see you there, and maybe he's gonna take us to the Invicta show. He was saying that's on, so maybe we could do that.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Chuck. It'd be good to meet you.
Yeah, okay. We insulted you when you forget things. All right. Yeah.
Whatever, man. Whatever. That was literally
We're supposed to remember everything. We're supposed to know everything in the world. You know what I mean?
That was so long ago, man.
Look, we forget things, right?
I always thought James was I
thought he was our boy.
Give and take. You know what I mean? Sometimes he'll tell us stuff and ask questions, and we'll give him the answers.
James, my man. There's an old saying: if you can't take the heat, man, stay out of the kitchen.
James. Maybe he's a hacker. Maybe he's a hacker. You know what I mean?
Let's leave James to his meltdown, his temper tantrum.
We'll shadow ban James. We'll reverse it. We're gonna reverse.
Let's just be nice to each other, guys. Come on. Nick, do you want to answer this question?
Yeah, sorry. I know we're running late. Sorry, but John did want to sort of propose an interesting idea, didn't you, about the Bellator sale? Maybe one championship hijacking it. This is not in the realm of reality, but what do you think if one bought Bellator instead in an alternate timeline, and maybe some Qatar backing? John was suggesting, what would that look like? Would that help a push into the US?
Oh, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt, that would make one championship a clear number 2 in the world if they bought Bellator. Look at the roster Bellator has with MMA. And they did kickboxing in the past, if you guys remember, right? They did have kickboxing champions. I heard rumors about Bellator being for sale for a while from legitimate sources. And there are rumors right now that PFL is really interested in buying Bellator, but it's going to be hard to combine those two because PFL is a season, and I don't know how many fighters would want to be involved in the season that's already on the Bellator roster, because a lot of those fighters probably don't want to. You know what I mean? Not everybody wants to be in a season. You know what I mean? Fighting 4 times in 6 months. You know what I mean? That's not something that a lot of fighters like to do. But I suggested maybe one is in the background. That's why Chatri's in the U.S. One has crazy financial backers, right? They have investors, especially with Qatar. I heard PFL is also involved with some investors from Qatar as well, and they have some financial backers, some big money. But I would like to see one maybe buy them, and if they do and combine the rosters, imagine their MMA. Imagine their MMA, just think about the bantamweight division that Bellator has, lightweight division. Just you have top 10 rankings, no problem, for all of the weight classes. Think about that.
Yeah, I would say if one and Bellator combine their rankings, we talk a lot about promotions competing with the UFC, but if we're being honest, the UFC is just so well established that they don't really have any competition. It's sort of a fight for second place right now. But I think if Bellator and two promotions like that, fully combined their rosters in some fantasy world, some alternate reality, that would be I think actually a little bit scary for the UFC. I think the UFC would sweat a bit if they saw that. But again, like Nick said, I don't really see it happening.
Well, the thing is, if you want to compete with the UFC, you got to do what the UFC did. UFC went and bought Strikeforce. UFC went and absorbed WEC. UFC went and bought Pride. those were their major competitors, man.
Mm-hmm.
And to beat the main guy, you got to do kind of similar things, right? And clearly they want to be number one in the world. If they have a chance, they need to absorb Bellator. If they do, this is just like alternate reality stuff. But perfect timing would be now. Next week in Denver, press conference, Chachi comes out, tells everybody, we bought Bellator.
Be crazy.
Amazon Prime is going to have Bellator, one championship combined. Everybody's one championship. We're going to absorb all the contracts. We're going to have title fights lined up. Demetrius, the winner of this weekend's main event, is going to fight, the winner between, what's his name? Sergio Pettis and Patricio Pitbull or Patchy Mix, or, think about those fights. Like, it
crazy,
opens
man.
up a lot.
You throw Fabricio in there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Fabricio's in there. You know what I mean? Like the lightweight champ, Christian Lee, when he comes back, you know what I mean? He's going to be fighting,
crazy.
Whoever I remember who the lightweight champion is right now, but Bellator has a crazy roster, and MMA, man, they would have no problems with MMA, right? They would have no problems.
Be crazy, man. I would love to see it. I think if any promotion is buying Bellator, it'll be the UFC. I think they're probably the only ones that can, like, I think, maybe one could make that work, buy it somehow, but it would be like a huge financial gamble. I think the UFC is the only one that could, like, buy them and, not be at massive risk. I don't know that PFL buying Bellator makes any sense to me. Not a knock on PFL, but the season thing is the sticking point for me. Like you said, John, I'm not sure how many fighters would want to participate in that format if they're not used to it. And also, there's 8 or 16 fighters per division in PFL. And there's so many fighters on the Bellator roster. I just feel like PFL couldn't possibly keep that many fighters active. So a lot of fighters, I think, would probably be cut, which would suck. But anyway, as we said, this is all very hypothetical. Anything else, guys, before we call it a day?
All good from me. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
When you guys heading out to Denver? Like,
I get there on Tuesday night.
Next week?
Yeah, next week. Yeah.
Next week.
I'll be there Monday, I think. Yeah. It was cheaper flight. But
nice.
I will have nothing to do on Monday other than sleep, I think. So
you could probably use that day to deal with the jet lag.
Yeah, I got some interviews lined up for Tuesday. I think we have a press conference on Wednesday. Weigh-ins will be Thursday, is it? And then, the big show Friday night, and then an after party, the most important thing. So
most important. Make sure I got a hangover for that flight home. Yeah.
Yes. I'll be hanging around in Denver for another week or so after the show, climbing some mountains with my old friend from school who lives out there now. But I'll be back in action. So the podcast I probably won't be on that week, but who knows? We may not be able to do one next week. Maybe we'll see. Maybe John
do a poolside preview.
Yeah, we'll think about what we can do, but anyway, I have.
We'll have a fight companion though. The fight companion will be rocking.
Yeah, maybe Denver. The fight companion sort of acts as the podcast for the next week. So
yeah, we could do that. That's no problem.
Sweet.
All right,
sweet. All right, guys. Well, John, you want to tell us where we can find your stuff? Nick and I will be in Denver covering one championship on this very channel. It's not that complicated for us, but where can people find your stuff?
You can find my stuff on the All-Star. It's the All-Star YouTube channel. You can find that, and you can follow me. I changed my tag because I lost my verification. You know what I mean? Like Twitter took all of our verifications. You guys lost yours, right?
I lost it, man.
Yeah.
Just a blue checklist loser now.
Exactly, right? And I lost my verification because before, if you had a verification, you can't change your tag, right? But now it's just like you can change your tag whatever you want because you don't have the verification anymore. So I changed it to Korean John _, just to line it up with my Instagram and all of that. So go follow me on that, and you get to follow and see all the interviews I do over there for UFC, Bellator,
neutral handle, but same great content from JHK. Follow him, guys. Support him. He's awesome. John, always a pleasure to have you on the show, man. Thanks for joining us. Thank you to Anonymous for this donation right at the buzzer. Very generous of you. thank you for watching or listening later. We hope you enjoy it. Super generous as always, man. Guys, I think that about covers it. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please do that before we say goodbye. We'll see you next week in some way. Nick and I will be in Denver, as we said. But yeah, we'll be back soon. Peace, guys.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Thanks, Anonymous.
All right.